Hey guys, Kev here, and this is another episode of Best Tool for the Job. And in this case, it is flashlights. So I'm trying to make this series sort of more simplified I don't want to just bring out 10 flashlights and say, I like this one the best. This is why I don't like this one, and this one. More or less, I want to just show you the one that I think is the best and not have it be an hour-long video, which I tend to make happen anyway. But this is the CWF, or Charles Wiggins Flashlights Micro Arcadian. And I have had 1, 2, 3, I think 4 of these. So I had, I think this is the first one I got, actually. And then I got a stonewashed one with the triple aught design pattern on it. And I ended up selling that one. I just don't love the stonewashed one. I like to beat my stuff up. Then I got a Zerk one. And then recently, I kind of traded the Zerk one in to get a Mokutai one. And I literally sold that one today just because it was a little too bougie for me, I guess. And it actually would scratch up where the Zerk one didn't scratch up. And I wasn't going to scratch up a $1,400 flashlight. So I sold that, and now I'm on the hunt for a triple aught design. Basically this flashlight in machined tie, but then it has a topo pattern. Looks awesome. Trying to get one of those, and then that'll probably settle me, but we'll see. I have tried different flashlights, so I obviously have like keychain light like this. I just have this right here, so I am going to show it. And this has basically the same amount of lumens as this does on high. Maybe even more, I don't know. And it's even smaller. So, you know, if you're just looking for function over form, then function over form, then, you know, you can get something like this. This is our Aurora A8 keychain light. They also have a 28, which is bigger. And I'll get into that. But I've tried all different lights. I also have this one here. This is a Baton 2 Pro, I think. Baton Pro, sorry. This is just like a magnet for me. And then when I need to look for a screw, I have it. But it's not, you know, something I would carry. And then the thing for me is size-wise for an EDC flashlight, I want it to be AAA size, which means I want it to take 10-440s. If you don't know, a 10-440 is this guy right here. Basically a AAA sized lithium battery. And this one's 320 mAh, 3.7 volt. The best, in my experience, the best brands are this Vape Cell or Vap Cell. And there's another one called E-Fest. And those two are, in my opinion, the best batteries you should get for lights. This one does take the button top one. I've heard people say they've put the flat top ones in and it works fine. So that might be the case. And then just tighten this down. And then boom, we are on. So I have always wanted this size flashlight, right? I want the AAA kind of size. I've made exceptions of getting ones like this that, you know, don't have batteries inside. They do, but they're not like replaceable, right? But it's still like that thickness, right? Or thinner. And that's what I've always tried to get. So I've gone through, you know, the Raylight Pineapple Mini. I've gone through that Rovivon. I've gone through the Dapper Designs Ion, which would be my sort of budget category winner for this. If you're just looking for something under $100, I think it's like $60 in titanium. You can get the Ion. It has a magnetic tail thing. It's got a really good user interface, easy. So I have a link to Dapper Designs down below if you want to check that out. But then I started trying to get into more like high-end stuff. So I got a Hoku from Laulima Metalcraft. And that was a twisty. And while I liked the light quite a bit, I hated the clip. It was just way too tight, but not like in a good way. Like this is tight, but it's easy still to get in and out. That one was just a pain. And it was a twisty, which just, I hate twisties. I want a tail switch. And getting a tail switch on a 10440 size light is difficult because a lot of people say it's not reliable. You can't get a reliable one. Well, Charles kind of invented or created I think it's the CWF Dragon driver or something like that. He created that specifically to be able to use a clicky on a small flashlight like this. And that's one of the reasons this is very popular, along with the fact that it's very just streamlined. It's very just basic looking in a sense, but it's kind of classic. It's got this really nice kind of rounded bezel or bevel, whatever you call it, bezel. Minimal lines, and it's got the clicky on the back and a nice clip. Now, I added this clip. It comes with kind of a basic, spring clip, I think. And then you can swap to titanium or, in this case, zircuti, which I think looks fantastic. And, they're not cheap. So that's one thing I want to point out is this flashlight base was like $425, $425. This clip alone was $200. So, I have $600 into this flashlight, basically, and it's my daily. I mean, I beat the shit out of this, and not in a sense that I drop it and bang it around, just that it's in my pocket every day, and it has been scratched up by other stuff in my pocket, I guess, and banging into stuff when I use it or whatever. I don't abuse it, but I'm not afraid to carry it and use it, and that's why you see all those scratches and whatnot, and that's why I didn't want to really use the Mokutai one. I got it, and I was all excited about it, and then I was like, is that a great idea? I don't know, So, anyway, it was kind of a journey to get here. I didn't just all of a sudden go, let me spend this much, on a flashlight, but I kind of got into flashlights, and instead of testing the waters with all this stuff, I went right from the budget stuff, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go for it. I'll get a custom light. I spend that much on knives all the time. Let's try it on a flashlight, right? And that's when I got the Hoku. And then I realized I do like what you get in a more premium flashlight. And I really wanted this from the beginning, but I couldn't find one. So I got that Hoku instead. And eventually I did find one of these. So that's kind of how it went. I got it on a drop, I think, on his website, I believe, actually. So I've had this for about a year plus, maybe at this point. I've had it for a long time. And I love it. I really love it. It's the best flashlight for me. It doesn't have the most lumens, doesn't have the most power, doesn't have the best battery life probably. But it's just such a good fit in the hand. It's a good carry in the pocket. It works really well. It doesn't have a stupid clip that either sits way too shallow or way too deep where you can't get it out, or has a loop on it so that it gets caught on other shit. I have never had this come out of my pocket when I didn't mean for it to come out of my pocket. And that is very important to me. I used to carry a Raylight and an Olight i3T, and the clips were either too loose or had the extra hook so you could put it on your hat, and it would end up catching on stuff when I sit down or stood up or whatever, or threw a bag over my shoulder. It would just rip the flashlight out of my pocket. This is just simple and works so well. And yes, you do have to program it. So I've done a couple of videos where you program it. You tap, once on, you tap this 15 times, and then there's a 1 through 5 menu, and then there's modes, and you can do memory and stuff like that. I'm very basic when it comes to that. I'm not an expert on UI on flashlights. So if you came here for that, that's not me. I'm a noob when it comes to flashlights. But what I do is I get it into program mode, and then I always set it to the same thing. Every one of these I've had, I set to 15 and 100. And what that is, on, it's at 15% power, and then you click the switch one time, and it's at 100% power, back to 15, back to 100, etc. off. I have two modes, so I click it on. If I'm in a dark room and I'm just looking for something real quick, boom, I got 15%. It's more than Moonlight, because Moonlight usually is not enough for me. It's just enough to kind of spot your keys, spot something in the dark. If I come in, what I use this light for the most, honestly, is sneaking into my kid's room when she's asleep or when she's supposed to be going to sleep, and I don't want to blast the lights on and wake her up. So I can just turn this on 15% and look around. That's the only time where maybe having a moonlight mode would be nice, so that I could be even more, stealthy, but it's fine. And then the other time I use it a lot is every night almost. My wife goes to bed, and I have to sneak into the bedroom to go to bed, and I don't want to wake her up, or I try not to. So I come into the bedroom, lights are off and everything. I bang this on to 15. I put it on my chair facing my desk, and then I take my clothes off, put all my shit down, whatever, get into bed, get everything ready, and then I pop it off, and then I put it on the desk with everything else. So this gets used multiple times a day, every single day. And then obviously you have the odds and ends when you're taking out the trash and you need some light, or you're getting out of your truck in the dark and you need some light. Now that it's winter-ish, it's just getting darker and darker and darker. This is becoming more and more needed, right? It's already very needed even in the summer because it doesn't stay bright here that long. I mean, the latest it ever stays bright, I think, in Pennsylvania is maybe 9 o'clock. And then in the winter, it's 4. Sometimes it gets dark. So, this is a necessary tool, but it's not something that is constantly being used. I swap the batteries out. They rarely ever die on me. I just kind of have an internal clock where every couple weeks or every week, I'll just take the battery out and I'll pop it in the charger I have down in the kitchen. And I'll let it charge up while I'm eating some ice cream or dicking around, and then I take it off and put it back in the light. Or I'll grab a fresh one. I have 4. I have a thing here. I have a couple others that I think are flat top, but I have 3 other ones here. So 4 total in this specific version. And sometimes I'll rotate these. So I'll take one out, put it in here, and then I'll charge a couple, whatever, right? Just so I'm not using the same one over and over. But, probably I'd say once every week or 2, closer to 2 weeks, I need to charge this. And usually when I throw it on the charger, it has 1 bar, maybe 2 out of 6. And it needs to fully charge. So, it's close to dying, but I've never actually had one die on me because I'm pretty, I try to be smart about it. And I don't ever use it for long periods of time. That's the thing I want to point out is these pocket EDC type flashlights, I don't think they're really meant to be used nonstop for a half hour. You know what I mean? If you're going to be doing that, just grab something you have at the house that's meant for more power, more battery, has the magnetic cap so you can, if you're dicking around, working in the basement or something. But whenever I've needed this in the basement in a pinch, I always have it on me, so I have it. And then I can, do whatever it is. Check under the dryer for this. Check the water heater for that. And it works great. It disappears in the pocket. That's super important. It's very slim. Here's a pen. It's a Nottingham tactical pen. You can see it's not a lot thicker or anything. It's, AAA size. That's the size for me. A lot of people like the AA size lights. Here's another comparison. Get Good screwdriver, about the same thickness. A lot of people like the AA size ones. And I think a lot of that has to do with the battery life. Those people probably use lights more than me. The Okluma DC0 is a very popular light. That's another one I tried right before I got this, I think, or at the same time, and then I sold the DC0. And it's just too thick for me, and maybe I could have got over that, but I also didn't even like the interface. I know it's blasphemy, but I love this light. To me, is way better than the Okluma. If they change their clicky to a forward click, I think, this is a reverse clicky, I think, and the other one's a forward clicky. Anyway, what I love about this interface, or this button, however you want to call it, function, is you click it on, right? So the light is now on and my finger's off the thing. And then I want to adjust, I want to go from 15 to 100. I just tap the button, right? I tap the switch. I want to go back, tap. How do I turn it off? Click. On, rotate, click, right? I do have this set to not have memory. So I'm not a memory mode guy. I want to start where, at the bottom and work my way up. Started at the bottom, now we hit. But the Okluma, what I hated about the Okluma, and maybe some people love this about it, but I can't see why, is you have to half click the Okluma and select your mode first. So you have to like half click it and kind of like half click, click, click until you get to low, medium, high. You decide what you want. Okay, I want high, and then you press even further to click that, and then it selects it on for good. And then obviously you click it off to turn it off. That's the same. But that is just weird to me, having like a selector and then clicking. It just makes it awkward to me. Where this, it's on. Look, it's on. Now I have light, and then I can decide how much light I want. I don't have to like have it half pressed while I'm deciding and then full click. That's just annoying to me. So I love that about this, that it doesn't have that. And I love the size, the carry and pocket. Every version I've had has been really cool. One thing I want to put out there in case anybody's watching this who's interested in the Zerk one, and my concern with it was going to be really heavy. It's honestly barely heavier than the titanium because of how much is milled out to, take in electronics or circuitry or whatever you call it and battery. It's just not a lot of material, so it's actually pretty lightweight. The Zerk one, I loved carrying it. Honestly, it's my favorite flashlight of all time is the polished Zerk CWF Micro Arcadian. But me and that flashlight just did not get along. I had to send it in 3 times. And the last time I was just like, can I just swap it out? And, so I paid a little more and got the Mokutai one. And it apparently was me over-tightening the head, and it was smushing the connectors or something, which I didn't even know was a thing. But it's totally a different feel. So from what I understand from Charles is the way it's done in there, it's different than any other Micro Arcadian. Every other one's the same, but the Zerk one, because of the way zirconium conducts electricity, it needs to be wired differently. And it was just a different setup, and it had a different O-ring or a bigger O-ring here. I don't know. It was just a different feeling when you tighten it. It was like, this is kind of grindy, where that was just a smooth, like, turn. But again, all I do is tighten it, and you can see it closes up. And I just kind of do that. And that's all I ever did with the other one, too. But what would happen is I'd have it on low, high, whatever, and it would start, like, flickering, kind of. And apparently the smushed connectors, I don't know, was causing some kind of issue with that. I have never had that issue with this light. And I've had this one for over a year. So I don't know if there was it's just me and that light just did not get along. Uh-oh. Oh, I think that's from me pressing. I didn't know I could mess with it by, yeah, you can do it by clicking. So as long as I'm not clicking like an idiot, it's fine. But there you go. Half click. Half click. Got me worried. But yeah, I've literally never had issues with this. Occasionally, I probably should stop taking this on and off. But occasionally what I'll do is I'll take this out. Something you can do in case anybody's curious. Since I'm talking about the greatest, the tool for the job. And I know a lot of people are probably like, well, great. This is the best tool for the job. It's, a $400 light. I get it. It's actually available on some website. I think it's in Europe or something. But I just take a little bit of alcohol, rubbing alcohol, on a Q-tip, and I just tap these kind of connector thingies. I tap this, and I just kind of like clean everything up. I don't know what, if anything, this does, but I figure it probably can't hurt. And I think Charles at one point told me I could do that. There's nothing you can really do in here, so I kind of just blow in there and then make sure the battery's like clean or whatever. I don't want any issues with the battery either. And then I just kind of make sure it's dry. And then I drop the battery back in. Put this back on. I'm going to be gentle as I tighten it. And there we go. And now we are cleaned, and we are, I don't see a difference or anything, but anyway, that's how I kind of clean it. Technically, I've never had anything really get in there. None of those Q-tips have ever come out grimy or anything, so I don't think there's really an issue there. I've never really cleaned the face of this either. I don't know if that's something you should do on occasion. So we can take a cloth here, clean that, and just clean that. I've never done that. Doesn't look like there's anything there. I don't even think I've wiped down the body before. I mean, it's titanium. It's pretty clean material. And it just goes in my pocket. So I don't really see a need either. But since I'm talking about it, there we go. You could see some scratching on the side of the clip. You can see scratching all over the titanium, and that's just from being carried. But anyway, I think that's mostly everything I wanted to say about it. I love it. It's my favorite light. I think it's the best light of all time. I want more. I always want more. It's like I always have this instinct to want two of them, and then I get two, and then I want to sell one. I don't know what it is. So I do think ultimately, like, this one right here is the best one for me because it's the one that has stuck around the longest. So I don't know. But let me know what your favorite flashlight is. What's your favorite tool for the job in this case? Flashlights, obviously everybody's different. Maybe you have a job where you need a flashlight, you know, for all night. And obviously this would not be a great option for that. Maybe you're more limited on space, or maybe you carry big-ass knives, so you're used to it, and you don't mind carrying a big-ass flashlight, so you carry, you know, a Warrior Pro or whatever. Or maybe you're more tactical than I am. So I'd love to hear that in the comments, but this is my choice for the best flashlight. And I'm not a flashlight collector, right? Like, I have a handful. Mostly, I've gotten them for free. Like, this was sent to me by Rodney, a viewer. It might have been a trade. This I got in a Going Gear box. And then I've had a few that were sent in for review. I've basically sent all of those out to other channels to review or given them away. But I have a couple that I've kept just around the house. So, but I always just have that. This is it. I don't really have this need to want another custom flashlight from a different maker or something like that. I always just want his flashlight, the Micro Arcadian, whether it's one or two of this, sure. But it's never like, oh, I wonder what else is out there. And maybe I should care more. I mean, if anybody has a suggestion for a 10440 size light about this size with a tail click, that's cool looking, you know, I'm down. Let me know. I'm interested. But as far as I could tell, this is the best option and really the only one. So that's it. I love you guys. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day, and I will catch you later.